Morning, guys, on 1 Timothy chapter 5, reading from verse 1 to 16. And just the first two verses deal with just how to rebuke, and then the second is on the widows, the qualifications of widows in the church. Do not sharply rebuke an older man, but rather appeal to him as a father, to the younger men as brothers, to the older woman as mothers, and the young woman as sisters in all purity. And so when you see someone in sin, the Bible says that you need to go to them, you need to show them their sin, but when you do rebuke them, there's got to be respect. And so just as you would respect your father, you would show that other older man who's not related to you that same kind of respect. And the same with the older woman, you'd show them the respect that you would to your own mother, and to your own family members, brothers and sisters. And so there's an aspect that there's got to be a respect given when we're going to folk, and there's got to be a gentleness, and there's got to be also a humbleness, knowing that you too could fall into that same sin. Now, the qualifications of widows, verse 3, honor widows who are widows indeed. So what is a qualified widow? And this is important because we can see how a woman has led her life up until this stage of 60 years old. How has she been, and if she's been faithful and she's been doing things right, then she qualifies as someone we can provide for. Verse 4, but if a widow has children or grandchildren, they must first learn to practice piety in regard to their own family and to make some return to their parents, for this is acceptable in the sight of God. And so firstly, is how has she been with her immediate family? Has she been there for the children, for the husband, for her parents? Because her family is so important. Or has she run off overseas and done her own thing and chased her own career? Has she been faithful in that regard with her immediate family? Verse 5, now she who is a widow indeed and who has been left alone has fixed her hope on God and continues in entreaties and prayers night and day. And so she needs to be alone. She needs to have no family around her, because her family must provide first and foremost before the church provides. Also, she needs to be someone who's been faithful in her life towards her dedication to the Lord. It talks about prayer, fixing her hope on God. Verse 6, but she who gives herself to wanton pleasure is dead even while she lives. And so if she's been prone to materialism, lusts, fleshly desires, given into those things throughout her life, then she doesn't qualify as a widow. When I say as a widow, I mean someone the church provides for. Verse 7, prescribe these things as well, so that they may be above reproach. But if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for the household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. And so there's a little bit of a shift where he's now looking at the men and saying, look, that widow needs to be provided for. Have the men done their duty? It's the men's duty to go out and work and provide for the family. It's not the woman's. And so have there been faithful men that have worked hard and provided for their family? Because if not, those men are like unbelievers. Verse 9, a widow is to be put on the list only if she is less than 60 years old, having been the wife of one man. And so she can't have been around many men and been unfaithful, and she had one man that she's dedicated herself to, one man that she's loved for her wife. Yes, that man has passed on, but was she proven faithful during that married time? Verse 10, having a reputation for good works, and if she has brought up children, if she has shown hospitality to strangers, has she opened her home, and has her home been a place where she provides for her children, cares for children, and also a home that's open to strangers. If she has washed the saints' feet, has she provided for those in the fellowship? If she has assisted those in distress, and if she has devoted herself to every good work. And so has she proved to have that life of not wanton pleasure for her own, but a life that she sacrificed and given to others. Verse 11, but refuse to put widows on the list when they feel sensual desires in disregard of Christ and they want to get married, thus incurring condemnation because they have set aside their previous pledge. So some widows may mourn for their husbands, and that they say, no, I'm going to dedicate my life to the Lord. But then with time, God's given them that desire to get married and have children. And so rather get married if you're a young widow, and fulfill that role that God's given, instead of just being unmarried, because you're setting yourself up for failure. Verse 13, at the same time they also learn to be idle as they go around from house to house, and not merely idle, but also gossips and busybodies, talking about things not proper to mention. And that's if they don't fulfill that role of hospitality, bringing up children, loving their husbands, washing the saints' feet, etc., then they're going to be prone to wander off and be busybodies and idle gossipers. Verse 14, therefore I want younger women to get married, bear children, keep house, and give the enemy no occasion for reproach. And so when they fulfill that role and they get remarried and they have more children, if they're able to, if they're young enough, then they're fulfilling that godly role. And it says keep house, that she manages her home, again the home being the center part of the woman's life. Then she's fulfilling what God has called her to do. For some have already turned aside to follow Satan, those who haven't fulfilled these roles. If any woman who is a believer as dependent widows, she must assist them and the church, and must not be burdened, so that it may assist those who are widows indeed. And so if she truly has got no one to help her, then the church must step in and help her.